my group researches Polykids, a small but important childcare centre business run through the Otago Polytechnic. When looking at the business structure of Polykids, we need to determine whether it is an organic structure, defined by its flatness, or horizontal qualities that mean it is structured without hierarchical values. No job descriptions or classifications. It is very unspecialized, and knowledge is used where it is most useful rather than having a specific place for one person. The other type of structure that needs to be taken into account is the mechanistic structure. This structure is defined by how tall or vertical the organization is. In other words, how hierarchical it is. Mechanistic structures are very specialized, where each section of the organization does what it is designed to do. There is also very little communication between managers, supervisors, and directors, with all the decisions being made as high up the chain as possible. I have come to determine that Polykids is in fact a mixture of both organic and mechanistic structures. Polykids work through a semi-hierarchical system, as they have the Polytechnic BOD, and then Karen is the head of Polykids, who is the manager, who works closely with their admin, as a mechanistic structure would do, and has a group of employees under her, meaning that there is an authority in the organization that would not have been there should it be structured organically. It is still a reasonably flat structure, and unlike a true mechanistic structure, the manager works alongside the other employees and communicates constantly with them. Because of the amount of communication that is happening within the organization, it is made to seem more like an organic structure, as organic structures base themselves around relationships and communication, which leads to teamwork, which is also important to Polykids. Being more organic also allows the organization to become more flexible, as they do not stick to rigid procedures as a mechanistic structure would do. Although Polykids has some rules from the Otago Polytechnic and the Ministry of Education that they must follow, because they are a childcare centre that looks after children from the ages of 0 to 5 years, the rigidity of a mechanistic structure would not be able to cope with the unpredictability of such young children, whereas an organic structure is more made to adapt to the external environment quickly and effectively, which again shows Polykids have organic qualities. In comparison to Polykids, that shows a mixture of both mechanistic and organic qualities, although despite the structure it may be inclined to lean more towards an organic structure. Factory-based business relies completely on mechanistic values. Say, for example, you are a machine worker. You receive instructions from your unit supervisor, who then reports to the head of department. The department head receives orders from and reports to the divisional vice president, who reports to the CEO, who answers to the board of directors. The structure is very hierarchical or tall, with lots of layers within the organization. As a machine worker in a mechanistic structure, you will also find you have an extremely specialized set of requirements that do not need any creative thinking. In terms of advantages and disadvantages of both types of structures, I think that both work better in different environments. In terms of a mechanistic structure, these work better in large factory organizations where there are a lot of employees and the work can be split up into specific jobs. Mechanistic structures are also simpler and easier to organize, however they are not equipped to cope with rapid change because of how structurally the organizations are run. However, in terms of an organic structure, I think this works better in a smaller, less sterile setting. A business that has a lot to do with external environment, for example a company mostly customer service based, or a childcare centre. This is because of how highly flexible and adaptable they can be to a rapidly changing and unpredictable situation. However, a disadvantage of true organic structures is that they are much harder to form and implement into organizations.